Hare Krishna and welcome once again to another session of the Sriman Narayaneeyam. Today let's do chapter 48, which is a continuation of the previous chapter 47, where Mother Yashoda binds Krishna onto a mortar or a grinding stone. Initially she was not able to tie Krishna. She always found that the rope was short by 2 fingers. However much she tried, she could not bind him. Okay, then at last she was perspiring and she was exhausted due to the effort, and Krishna, out of compassion, allowed himself to be bound. Now these 2 fingers we saw represent our endeavor and the Lord's mercy. Okay, only when these 2 combine is one able to bind the Lord. The Lord is not controlled by anyone. He is under the control of his devotees' pure love. He is controlled only by the unalloyed devotion of his devotees. Okay. So now we'll read the first shloka, the first verse of chapter 48, and then continue. Now this chapter is a summary of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 9, verses 22 and 23, chapter 10 and chapter 11, verses 1 to 6. So it's a summary of these 3 chapters. Okay. So we'll read the first shloka of chapter 48 and start. Muda suraukhaiswamudara sammadair udirya damodara ityabhishtuta mrudodara swairamulukhalelagan adurato dvau kakubhavu daikshata. Now here the poet Sri Melpattur Narayana Bhattadripad starts by saying, O Lord, a group of sages who watched this pastime of thine started singing hymns in praise of thee and named thee Damodara. And thou, with a tender belly, were attached to the mortar, saw 2 Kakuba trees, 2 Yamalarjuna trees, standing not very far away. Now, Damodara means what? Dama is rope and Udara is belly, waist. So one who is Damodara means one who is tied with a rope on the belly. That is Damodara. So the sages praised the Lord, calling him Damodara. And then the Lord saw 2 Yamalarjuna trees, Kakuba trees, standing not far away. Now to the story of these 2 trees. The 2 sons of Kubera, the god of wealth, Manigriva and Nalakuvara, by worshipping Lord Shiva, they attained great prosperity and wealth. Okay? But then this wealth and prosperity made them proud and arrogant. And for a very long time, they led a very wayward life. Okay? Now, Narada, the great devotee of the Lord, once saw these 2 sporting in the holy rivers of the Ganges in an intoxicated state, and they were totally naked. They were surrounded by beautiful damsels, young intoxicated damsels. They were also naked. Now, when Narada appeared on the scene, these damsels, these ladies, immediately wore their clothes and covered their bodies. But these 2, Nalakuvara and Manigriva, they continued to sport in nakedness. And then the Muni cursed them. He said, may you turn into trees, may you become Kakuba trees and remain in that state for a very long time. Now, the curse of saintly people sometimes, is a blessing in disguise. Okay, and because these boys were naked and not conscious about their state, the Muni cursed them to become trees, because trees are naked and but are not conscious, right? So Narada Muni cursed them to become trees, and then he said, you'll remain in that state for a long time, and then later on, when Hari appears on this earth, when Hari appears, you will, and when you are able to see Hari, Lord Hari, you will regain your original state. Okay, so then Narada Muni left after cursing them, and these 2 boys, they went to the outskirts of Vraja, and there they turned into Kakuba trees, the Yamalarjuna trees. And so these are the trees. So these 2 trees, Krishna saw these 2 trees standing not far away, and To fulfill the words of his greatest devotee Narada, Krishna slowly moved to that spot where the Yamalarjuna trees were standing. Okay. Now Narada Muni wanted these two sons of Kuvera to achieve devotion to the Lord and mental peace, and that was why he cursed them. So Krishna, now seeing these two trees, he moved slowly towards them, and then Krishna went in between the two trees which were standing next to each other. Then the mortar fell crosswire and got stuck between the trees. Krishna crossed and the mortar was stuck in between. So baby Krishna pulled the rope and dragged the mortar, and as a result the two trees fell down, and from their root, from their root core emerged two radiant yakshas, Manigriva and Nalakuvara. Okay? And they immediately worshipped the Lord with hymns. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord says, those who worship other devatas, Devi devatas, are actually worshipping me indirectly. Okay, so that because Krishna is the cause of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam. So those who worship other devatas are also actually worshipping me only, but in an indirect way. That's all. So here, these two devotees of Rudra, of Lord Shiva, by the grace of Narada, reached the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. They prayed to Krishna for pure devotion and then went away. Okay, and then this when the trees fell, it caused such a frightening noise that all the gopas came running immediately. And Nanda, when they saw this sight, when they saw the sight that Krishna sitting in between these two trees which had fallen down, Nanda glanced at Yashoda Maya meaningfully, and Yashoda, because it was she who caused all this. Like, she had tied Krishna to the mortar, and Yashoda Maya felt very ashamed of herself. And Nanda Baba released Krishna from the mortar. Released Krishna, who releases everyone from the bonds of samsara, from the never-ending cycle of birth and death. So Nanda Baba released Krishna from the mortar, and all the gopas, they said, "Oh God, it is only because of the God's grace that this child is safe and unhurt today." And saying thus, they carried Krishna and went into the house. Okay, and here the poet Sri Melpattur Narayana Bhattadripad winds up this chapter saying, "O Lord of Guruvayur, save me from my ailments." Okay, so that is about chapter 48. The next chapter 49 is about the journey to Vrindavana. Okay, they leave Gokulam. All the gopas, they leave Gokulam because lots of bad things were happening here, right? So they leave Gokulam and they travel to Vrindavana. Okay, so we'll see that very soon. Let's stop here for the time being. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.